Welcome back, CrossFit Inconceivable community. We're here for part one of both sides of the story. And I'm going to show you here, and you can see in SugarWOD, our workout. Both sides of the story, part one, are our static holds. So we're going to work on some core and lower extremity strengthening and get some stabilization through the shoulders as well. So how this is going to work is I'll have the clock running the whole time, and we're going to work on first accumulating 2 minutes in a squat. And what that means is you need a total of 2 minutes, and you could do it all at once, no breaks, rock star status if you can do that. Otherwise, if you take pauses, you need to do the math and add it up in your head. So say you do 30 seconds at a time, you take a 10-second break, you do another 30 seconds. You have to keep track of that yourself on the clock. So that would look like 30 seconds, you'd rest for 10, you'd start again when the clock says 40, you'd go for another 30 seconds, which would be a minute and 10 seconds on the clock. And you need to do that 4 times to get to 2 minutes total. So I'll let the clock run continuously, and if you need longer in each movement, go ahead and take that. Then you need to accumulate 1 minute in a plank hold. And same idea, if you can do it all in 1 minute, fantastic. Otherwise, keep an eye on the clock and try to do round numbers, make it easier math for you to do. And then the third movement is an inverted plank hold, and that one you also need 1 minute. And so you can think about how many rests it takes you, how many sets it takes, and perhaps compare that in the future. Maybe you had to do it in 4 parts, and next time you might only need to break it up twice. So I'm going to show you each of these and some modifications that you can use, and then we'll get the clock started, and we will struggle and succeed together. All right, so for the squat holds, what we want to think about is really getting into our depth of a squat, our hip crease below our knees, and the knees driving out and keeping the chest as tall as we can, but we don't want to kind of just sink into the bottom of it, okay? We want to be intentional and meaningful and active. All right, so let's take a minute and just get a little bit of mobility work in our ankles here. And so we're going to get into a nice kneeling lunge and spend a moment kind of pressing forward, knee toward the toes, keeping the heel planted. And then think about scrunching your toes, kind of pulling your toes down to the floor, and then relax and see if you can sink a little bit deeper. And we'll do that again, scrunching the toes, relax, and sink in. Good. All right, and let's try that on the other side. So let's get into a low kneeling lunge on the opposite side, keeping the heel planted, pressing that knee forward, scrunch the toes, and then relax and see if you can gain a little bit more. And we'll do that one more time. Good. And so options for this, you go to the depth that you can. And so if you're not quite below parallel yet, you can get, as near as you can to that. If you have an object for feedback, you could use that. What I don't want you to do is sit on it and rest, okay? You could also use the wall for feedback. I'm going to go this way. So if it becomes too much, you could kind of use somewhat of a wall sit and see if you can scoot yourself down to that below parallel, okay? Working on chest upright and knees out. You have something you can hang on to. A railing might be helpful. I could use this window frame as a little bit of support and feedback if I need to do so. Remember, we're going to try to accumulate 2 minutes in a squat hold over however many breaks that you need, and work on keeping form, holding ourselves accountable to the depth that we can manage, but not sinking or rounding the back. Okay, staying active here. If you needed to, you could use elbows inside the knees. Again, a little bit of an advantage there. But if you find yourself faltering, getting really fatigued, that could be something you could add to help you as well. Okay? For the plank, that's the second movement, and we need 1 minute in the plank. You can come into a traditional plank at the top of a push-up. You want to keep one long line between your heels, hips, and shoulders. And we would hold, right? Keeping active in the shoulders here, not letting ourselves sink, not really in too much of a butts up position. We want to stay neutral, long and strong there. If it's a stress on your wrists, you could come to your elbows, interlacing the fingers, working on staying there. And if all that's too much, you can start from the knees, thinking about how long and strong and engaged in the core you can hold here. Or again, maybe it's just a few minutes. You could also do a more upright plank if you have a counter or a railing nearby. You could start a little bit higher, okay, and get yourself into that strong position but maybe not all the way level with the ground. Those are options as well. So if I were doing that against the wall, I can engage my core and hold here, really thinking about, and I'm not just standing here doing nothing, I'm really engaged through the hips, glutes, quads. All right, and the last movement is a little less common, is the inverted plank hold. And this is kind of like doing a crab walk, but in place, so a crab stand, perhaps. So I'm going to have my fingertips towards my butt. I'm going to have my feet on the floor, my knees bent, and I'm going to raise the hips as high as I can, trying to get to 90 and 90 at my knees and at my shoulders, and work on holding here, squeezing the glutes. And this is also a good kind of shoulder opener and strengthener. So we're going to get started. I'm going to let the clock run. We're going to see what we can accumulate here. And actually, I'm going to get a sip of water before I do that if you want to as well. Keeping track of your own math. And I'm going to work alongside you, taking breaks when I need to, and you do so too. All right, so give us a 10-second countdown. I'm going to try to stick to nice round numbers. We're going to start with the squat, going for 2-minute hold total. Okay, we sit here. We're going to stay active. And what can we think about? Remember to tune in for yoga 4 times a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 6:30, Thursdays at 1:15 in the afternoon, Sundays at 9:15. We're going to be starting our Zoom live classes. So for our active 3-day-a-week and unlimited members, we'll be hosting classes at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 5:30 p.m. starting next week, which these might be a repeated video. So that would be March 30th, 2020 is the next week I'm referring to. Good. Keep driving those knees out, staying active in the bottom of the squat and chest up. All right. Coming to the end of our first minute. If you took a break, shake it out. Get back at it. Remembering, here's a round number. 1 minute. See if you can stay on it. Okay, so we're here and we're active and we're strong. Okay, we reach up for a little bit. Good. Don't let ourselves sink. Staying active in the glutes and in the back. All right, if you're hanging out with me for this straight 2 minutes, keep it up. Good. We're strong. Knees are out. All right. Hope everybody's finding fun things to do at home, making space for yourself, getting fresh air when you can, cooking good food. Remember, if you're watching this real time, try to submit, if you haven't already, t-shirt ideas. Last 10 seconds if you're going straight through for the 2 minutes. Good. 3, 2, 1, and rest if you went straight through. Good. Whew. I'm going to sit for a little bit here. Kind of rock it out. If you're taking those pauses, try to take short sets and get back in and controlling your breathing. We'll go for another minute here. And on the 3 minutes, we'll work on the plank. Remembering those options where you can be on hands, elbows, you can be at the wall, you can be on your knees. Lots of different ways to advance the plank, but the whole point of it all is to stay really active and engaged in the core, which is your belly, but it's also your glutes and your quads and your back muscles. So core is this whole complex. All right, so in the 3 minutes, I'm going to get started with the plank. 3, 2, 1. Go this way so I can see the clock. All right. I can't remember the exact time now, but there was the military veteran, my shoulders engaged, at 8 hours or 24 hours. I don't know, some insane amount of time. We did have plank competitions in the gym, and I think some folks got to double digits of minutes, which is a pretty remarkable feat. Keep squeezing glutes and quads. Keep that back neutral. Nice work. More than halfway here. So you can hold steady for this minute. If you need breaks, take them. Shake it out, find a round number, and get back on it. Make easy math for yourself. Good. Come up to 10 seconds if you went straight through. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. So I'm going to kind of shake out hip side to side here. Shake out the arms. Going to use them again for that inverted plank. So we're going to go on the 5 minutes. Okay. If you want to get started and break it up, go ahead and do that. Remember, this clock is running for you. And we'll see how it takes to get there. And if anybody remembers, we did a park workout. We had to accumulate a hang. I want to say it was 6 minutes total. But every time you fell, you had to run a loop and do a bunch of push-ups or kettlebell swings. So a lot of incentive to stay hanging on there. No penalties here for taking breaks. But giving yourself a baseline so when we do this again, maybe you'll take fewer breaks. All right, we're getting ready for that inverted plank hold. You get some options here. If we can't go all the way up, go as high as you can. Or maybe you're just really working on chest through. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and lift. Good. We're going to think about lifting the hips high, dragging the heels back, staying active in the glutes and opening the shoulders. Good. What are we doing there? Final one. We're looking for a minute. Stay on it. Keep breathing. Good. If you need to, lower the hips and just press up through the shoulders. That's an option as well. We got some posterior chain activation. Your superior glutes and hamstrings involved. More than halfway. Nice work. Stronger together. 15 seconds. Right. 5, 3, 2, 1, and release. That was the hardest one. If you're still rocking it out, take your breaks and get back on it. I'm going to leave this clock running until the 7-minute mark. Okay, if you need longer, go ahead and take that and then join us for the next part of the workout. Okay, let's cheer each other on. Get your squat, your plank, and your inverted plank. Getting the core ready to support us through the next part of the workout. Final 30 seconds here. Get all those holds in. Proud of you all for following along at home and being flexible, taking on new training challenges, finding yourself stronger, even outside the confines of the gym. Look forward to bringing you all back in, but we're happy to be able to stay connected virtually during this time. Here's our final 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest. All right, join us for part 2 of Both Sides of the Story.